You think that I'm running in place? Y'all really testing my pace. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the basics. What if my talent is wasted? You see what I'm lacking the basement. Just since I crap in the basement, what my come up is legend is greatness. I don't care now, it's pedal to the metal. I can never quit now, I will never settle. Puppet to the game, I'm pulling strings like Geppetto. We in the same game, but I'm on a different level. I passed it. Gotta keep grinding till I'm laid up in the casket. No fake round, but you feeling too plastic. Yeah, y'all feeling too plastic. They say my style crazy, but then it's straight jacket. Whoa. Why you still testing my patience? Trying to turn me into something I ain't trying to be. All the haters in heavy rotation. You gon' lose yourself, quit testing me. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Test me. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Test me. Wesley, test me. Don't let me lose my mind. Wesley, test me. Yeah, guess I know no better. I ain't got no chill, so they call me a devil. Look, I am just a man on a mission. If I want it, then I get it, I call. And if you're trying to test me a beast, you're gonna need Liam Neeson. The test that you're taking is flagrant. You're testing your luck. If you think you'll make it out, I think it's sadly mistaken. Care what you put in your stake in, cause I ain't got no patience and no limitations. I'm trying to figure me out, and I know I don't make sense, but no one's there when you call like you're trapped in the Matrix. You need to take a break from it. I think you should take 6. Cause just I hold a throne and no one else can replace this. The pain will only go deeper the harder you chase it. I'm the greatest that you ever met. It's time that you face it. So tell me, why you still testing my patience? Trying to turn me into something I ain't trying to be. All the haters in heavy rotation. You gon' lose yourself, quit testing me. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Test me. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Don't let me lose my mind. Wesley, test me.
What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies that help make this podcast possible. Guys, tonight it's going to be a little different. I'm only going to talk about one sponsor, and I'm going to do this with a heavy heart. You guys know that I've been with Yellow Jacket for 10 years, almost 10 years now. They were my first sponsor. They believed in me before I ever put a podcast out. So I have an ultimate loyalty to them. Uh, I'm just going to read this announcement to make it easier. But, here goes. It is with a profound sadness that we announce a passing of our president, Mr. Thomas Ritchie, on March 2nd, 2025. Our deepest prayers and condolences go out to his wife, Kristen, and their family. Tom began in a career with Ritchie Engineering Company on March 1st, 1969. He worked diligently to understand the key ingredients for continued growth of the business his family started in 1949. Over the last 56 years, he leveraged that knowledge to expand and innovate product lines while he developed an organization for consistent success. During that time, Tom played a pivotal role in the HVACR industry, becoming a well-respected leader in the tools and test segment. Tom was the second generation of Ritchie family to lead our company and has led the Ritchie Engineering through a fantastic growth period. Tom's impact in the market and in our company and many of our lives will be felt for years to come. It is Tom's wishes for Ritchie Engineering to continue operating as the successful family business, and it has been for the past 75 years. Kristen Ritchie will assume the position of president of Ritchie Engineering Company. Guys, please, Mr. Tom was amazing. Rookie, I don't know if he's in here tonight. He might still be mad at me about Wednesday, but um, Rookie is always with me. I have met Mr. Tom several times over the years, been able to build a relationship with him. He is the sweetest man you'll ever meet, and his beliefs ring true inside of that company, trying to make as much as they possibly can in the United States and just capturing quality. So my heart goes out to Yellow Jacket. It really, really does. Mr. Tom was an amazing man, and it sucks to see somebody that was an industry giant, an industry leader like that pass away. But yep, wanted to pay my respects to them, to Mr. Tom Ritchie, and also to Yellow Jacket. So with that being said, 25 years of expertise built into every tool. let's get on with the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are on a Friday night about that. So, when I bring the guest on, we'll talk about it. So, I did a great podcast Wednesday. We did a great podcast Wednesday. You guys didn't see it. Back in the day, there's plenty of times back when me and Kelly were podcasting where I would fail to hit record. Since doing it this way, I have never failed to hit live. And I'm going to be honest with you. I called out you guys in the chat, everything. And then I was so engulfed in the conversation that me and Rachel were having, I didn't even pay attention to the chat, but I realized they stopped coming in. And at first I thought just the signal stopped, but it was still recording. I'm like, all right, well, what the hell? We'll just keep going. And then I got to the end and I realized it still said go live. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. So, yes, my bad, man. My bad. Any of my moderators, and I'm surprised that Rookie didn't message me, to be honest, but hey, it's my fault. I'm not putting on somebody else. But guys, if that ever happens, you see that, please call me because I am an utter moron. My apologies. That's why we are going Friday. So, after doing, 1,000+ podcasts, you still make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So that's what I did. So go ahead and kick me in the nuts for that. But I get to do this podcast again. Amazing show tonight that we get to do take 2. I wish you guys could have saw the first one, but it's going to be even better tonight. I do want to let everybody know I do have some amazing news that I would love to share with everybody. As a lot of you know, I made some changes in my career, and I walked away, um, from the company that I was at, just because I wasn't happy. And I've been very thorough in this process of trying to find the next step in my life. And I followed through to several. A lot of you know that I was trying to get the Linux technical support spot, and I went through a bunch of the processes. Somebody else ended up getting it. Hey, that's okay. It just means it wasn't meant to be. But I went through some other ones, and I ended up finding a position, and it's kind of funny that I'm going full circle. A lot of you know that I started in the commercial, industrial, refrigeration, stuff like that. So I have accepted a position to be the service manager for a company called Remco for the Baltimore branch, and I'm extremely excited for this next chapter in my life. It's going to be awesome, going back to where I came from. So I'm leaving the residential side, but I am super, super excited for it. So with that being said, and no, I'm not blaming Rookie, man. It's definitely my fault. But it happens. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I know I hate doing other nights because I know I have friends that do shows. I'm not sure if Overtime's going live tonight, so I hate to cut in to their stuff. But if they are, just let them know it's because of my mistake on Wednesday. But with that being said, man, an awesome show tonight. I wish you guys could have saw it. Where the hell were you Wednesday? Anyway, I truly love and adore this woman and her husband, man. They are truly amazing people. And for what she does, I don't think she understands her impact. Well, we talked about it last time, but being a woman in her 30s who made the change to go to a trade that is predominantly dominated by men and to crush it and do well, and then say, you know what? I'm going to put this online to show people what I do. Takes enormous balls, all right, for her to do that and then be good at it I think that it is motivating for women and for men alike. And then for her this year to win the 2025 Lady of the Trade Award is just absolutely amazing. And there were so many amazing women, excuse me, women nominated for that. But yes, if you can please help put your hands together and welcome the 2025 Lady of the Trade Award winner, Miss Rachel Martins.
Hi, Gail. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. What's up, girl? Take two. Let's do this again. You know, it was so good we had to make a second one.
I really liked how Wednesday came out too. I was excited about that. I'm like, wow, it was a great conversation.
It was. We'll and we won't try to recreate it, but this one will be just as good. Just think, we always said we could talk longer. Now we get another hour to talk. Just this one's actually recorded.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I was just looking in the chat, and it's always the same people. So I just wanted to shout out everybody who's always there to support you. I love that, like, about this community, that you have these people who live maybe not close to you. I don't know where they're out of, but they're always there to support you. There's people who are always on my posts, always, commenting, sharing, liking, and it's very appreciated. So thank you guys for being here again. And thank you everybody for your support on my stuff too.
Yeah, true. And I should say that real fast. And thank you to all of you. Like, I realized that you guys, some of you waited there for 30 plus minutes until you finally left. So I thank all of you for being here. And all of you know it's pretty much the same name. Some people, I see them a lot, but maybe not every week. But I do truly thank you for being here. I really do. I look forward to seeing you guys. I like to talk with you in the chat. And now that I can start to get some kind of like consistency in life and some kind of like schedule, I do want to start doing the live streams where it's not really podcasts, where I'm not worried about the audio, but it is just me sitting there bullshitting with you guys, to get back with that. So I thank you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll take it to the end this time where I'll call some of you guys out. So thank you. Thank you very much for being here. With that being said, we talked about so much good stuff last time. I guess I'd like to talk about. So I know that you had said that you and Igor are not working every day together now. If you would like to segue into that to what you are doing now.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, my husband and I made up a 2-person install team, and him and I worked together for 4 years. And when I started, I made a complete 180 career change. And so I didn't know anything about HVAC, never worked in the trades, nothing like that. And so I just started, and he literally taught me from nothing from day one. So I have to credit him with a lot. But yeah, we worked great together. We really made a great team. In areas where he was weaker, I was stronger. In areas where I was weaker, he was stronger. And we really made a good team. We actually work together today, because it just happens sometimes where, some people are off, or, crews get switched around. So I still do work with him. Also, like, if there's like a two crew job or a multiple crew job, we still work together a lot. So you'll still see him in all my content, which everybody I think still does. But yeah, it's been great. But what happened was, around Thanksgiving time, he broke his wrist. And so he couldn't work, and I wasn't just going to sit home with him. So I still had to go to work. So I went to work with somebody else. And this guy worked with me one day, and he went up into the office to talk to the boss and was like, I want her. I don't care how long Igor's out. If it's 1 week, 5 weeks, 6 months, I want her while he's gone. So I started working with him. And then when Igor did come back, I didn't go back with him. Yeah, I stayed with him. Yep. It was a fair deal, though, because he does primarily package units, which, if anybody's familiar with those, it's really like a all-in-one kind of deal. They're just faster, and so I'm working less hours, making basically the same money. So it's better for my kids and my family.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when she says that, she means residential package units, because the first show we did, I didn't understand what she was talking about. I was thinking rooftops, because in my area, we don't do those. Like, we don't have them at all. I haven't in 25 plus years. I've never installed one, never worked on one. So you just don't see them up here.
Yeah. So in our region, in the southeast, I guess, I'm in North Carolina. So we have a lot of crawl spaces. So we do see a lot of package units on homes with crawl spaces.
Yeah. Tell Igor, Just Work HVAC said Igor's new logo is awesome.
Oh, I will. I'll tell him.
Yeah, so that's cool. But I know one thing I touched on last time that, or I asked you a question and you answered. I want to bring up that just to highlight your company is by we said that it's awesome you're able to be off early for your kids and stuff like that. Because when you were with Igor, you were getting some, the fact that he's good at what he does, he gets some of those hard jobs and takes a little longer to do. But now that you're getting off early, it's still not affecting you because your company does piecework as far as how you get paid, correct?
Yep, we make piece rate. So basically a percentage of the total job price. There a lot of companies around here do it that way, and some of them do it differently. Some people give piece rate based on the labor cost alone, but the company we work for gives the total job price, which is nice for us. So
Nice. No, that is awesome. And I think that those kind of ways are good, like I said before, to pay people, because otherwise it just promotes complacentness and laziness when people like, oh well, I want to get my 8, so make sure it takes out, and it ends up just not saying you can't do good work, but if a person is efficient, I don't think they should be penalized for that. So that's how we've always done it too. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to manage people that, they'll knock out 2 installs a day and, you know, technically get paid 16 hours or plus and still only work 8-10 hours. And it's by choice. So I get it. Some jobs are tough. You're not going to do 2 in a day. It's just not going to happen. But if you get like a standard, especially if you have like a heat pump air handler and it's kind of simple, you can knock out 2 of them a day if you're efficient and good. You know what I mean? And good at what you do and maximize your time. So
we don't do that a whole lot in the middle of summer when it's super busy. We will get 2 systems sometimes, but it's usually at the same house. So if the same house is getting 2 systems replaced, we'll do both systems, just 1 crew. But usually it's 1 crew per system. So like if a crew consists of 2 people, if you have two systems, it would be 4 people on the job site, unless we're busy and you got to stretch it.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you guys have any special restrictions for like over a certain temperature? Like if it's 95, 100 degrees and like the installs in an attic? Do they do anything? I asked that because I hear some people are starting to implement things, and there's actually a law trying to be passed. If people listen to my previous episode with Mr. Dennis the Apprentice, who's involved in that lawmaking process, where they're trying to pass a law that over a certain temperature, like they can only, you can't work in it and you got to do this and do that. So that's why I ask.
Not that I'm aware of. It's never happened to us where we got called up for excessive heat. This year, though, we had a snow day, and for the first time ever, they just kept us home and rescheduled all the installs, which has never happened. So that was new. Yeah, that was a first.
We have that here, and those days suck, but I understand it from a business standpoint, especially a business the size that you guys do, that you guys go out there, and if one van hits somebody and gets a wreck, you lost any money you were going to make that day, possibly that week. So it gets to be that decision like, hey, it's not worth people, or if God forbid one of you get hurt. So we have that a lot here, and sometimes it's hard being the one to make that call because you're like, man, we have all this profit, this money that we can make today, but it's not worth it if somebody gets hurt. You know what I mean? It's like blood money.
Yeah, but talking about like being efficient and everything, I love that word, and we always talk about that word because some people say, "Oh, you're so fast," and I don't like fast because fast means you're just rushing through it, and we're not. We're efficient. That means every move we make is calculated. Every trip back to the truck, we take something with us. Every move is calculated. That's efficiency, not just being fast. And so there's a difference there. So we like efficient, not fast.
Amen. I agree. That's why you don't hear that in my vocabulary. Just like when I teach people, the art of being a technician, I'm like, it's being good technical and communication. I never use the word sales. Because if you can be good technical and you can communicate what you do to the customer, you're good. Because people hear, I don't want to sell. I don't want to do this. That's fine. I don't want you to sell anything anyway. I want you to be really good at what you do and communicate all of that to the customer. If the customer decides to do something, great. If they don't, so be it. I'm not asking you to beat them up and take their wallet. So I think that the terminology and the verbiage we use sometimes is important because it elicits a certain response in someone's brain. And sales, oh man, I'm not being that guy. I don't want to be that fucking sales guy. Oh, you're too fast. No, I'm not, man. I'm efficient. I'm just, I'm good at what I do. So sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it,
Right. And I love that you put the two together, like the technical and the communication, because I think that's what made me and Igor such a good team. Um, because Igor is so technical. He's been doing this a long time. He's very smart. He's very good at what he does. But communication's not his strong suit. I mean, he's not a jerk, but it's just not something that he's good at or that he enjoys really. So at the end of the day, when you've been at it for hours, right? You're tired, you want to go home, your knees are hurting, your back is hurting. Maybe in the summer you've been sweating. Like the last thing you want to do is the run through with the customer, explain the thermostat, help them get hooked to Wi-Fi, all that little piddly stuff. Like that, he doesn't want to do that. That's all me. And so I would take that time to just talk with the customer, make sure they don't have any questions, and build that relationship. And so that's why together, him and I were so great.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I think that's huge because I always tell people, especially from the service technician side, is you can be a genius, but if you can't communicate that to the customer, like when you get done and you leave, the customer doesn't realize that maybe they had just one of the smartest minds in the field at their house because the communication was poor. So you do need to be well-rounded and have that. So it's don't think of yourself as being a salesman, but just being well-rounded and able to communicate, your expertise to the customer. Because it's hard. Not everybody has it. There's a lot of people that are very good at this trade, like you are. Like you said, it's not like he's a jerk. It's just not something he loves to do. Like you put a problem and install this, he'll do it. But when it comes to that little tit for tat stuff, he doesn't enjoy that. Where me or somebody like you, I like that part of it. I like the interaction with the customer. Seeing their emotion of, oh man, you guys did such a good job. Oh my God, look at this, look at that. And just having that kind of conversation. I enjoy that.
Yeah, and like when I work really hard to do a good job and make it look good, like one of my favorite parts is at the end of the day showing the customer. Like I want the customer to see what I did, and sometimes they're not that excited about it, but I'm excited about it. And so I'll do that. And sometimes when they're like, "Oh no, it's okay. You can just shut the attic. I don't want to go up there." I'm like, really? Come
Yeah.
on. Like all those little things I did, and you don't even want to look at it one time."
Yeah, like just pop your head
But
up there. Come on.
what I'll do is let me show you a picture. You don't have to go up there. Let me show you a picture. And so
Yeah.
I'll go, but I will be thorough too. Like when I show them what I've done, I'll also show them like what each component is, because a lot of people don't know, how it works, what it is. I won't get into like all the nitty gritty details, but I'll be like, this is your furnace, the blower's here. Here's your heat exchanger. This is the exhaust. This gets hot when the heat's running. So I just tell them all these little things that maybe no one's ever taken the time to explain, and it goes a long way and it builds trust so that the next time they need another new system, guess who they're going to call? They had a great experience with Rachel and Igor.
Exactly. Or if their neighbor says something, their friend or family, hey, call these people. It's about the experience, and I think that's what makes them good companies. That it's about how you make the person feel, building those relationships. Like I can sit here and get into the business side of it, but I've said this before on here. There's transactional customers and relational customers. Transactional only care about the money. They only want the cheapest price. They don't care who you are, how good you are, what your backstory is. They don't give a shit. And sadly, most companies, that is 75% of your customer base. Whereas relational customers, they do care about that. They care about the backstory. They want to know you. They want to build that relationship, and they spend a shit ton more money. If you can get it to where you're 50-50, where 50% of your customer base is relational, your company will scale and thrive. And that's proven. That's a fact,
And that's a good way to put it, because when you say it like that, when you have a customer who has multiple systems in their house and they're a transactional customer, just like you said, right? And they go with you because they saved a little bit of money, right? And then the installers go out there and they just kill it on communication, on just the quality, on the cleanup, on everything. Next time they need another new system, maybe we aren't going to be the lowest price, but because we built that trust, the trust that was built with the installers, not the sales guy, the installers who actually came out to do it, maybe they'll pay a little bit more next time, just knowing what they got last time and wanting to replicate that.
Yeah, very true. So a transactional customer can become a relational customer. Normally,
Exactly.
a relational customer doesn't go to become a transactional customer. It's who you are. And then also learning, like when people learn the art of sales or communication is, you know, little things about being able to read a person, like knowing whether they're an extrovert or an introvert. If they're an extrovert, they want you to talk about stuff. Oh, let's talk about this. An introvert wants you to give them an outline description so that they can read it. They don't want you to talk to them. So learning some of those different things and knowing the person, like, it helped me able to manage people properly. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when I said when I used to coach youth sports, like, one kid you had to pat on the ass, one kid you had to kick on the ass. And if you got it wrong, the kid you had to build up, if you would have kicked him in the ass, he would have shut down, and vice versa. So it's the same thing with customers and employees. You have to know the difference on when you're doing it.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that too, because sometimes, I told you last time, there's like 14 install crews, install alone in our company. So that's a lot of people. So
Yeah.
two-man crew that you're looking at 28 guys. Those 28 people, 27 guys and one girl. Those 28 people, they're not all the same. We don't all respond well to that hard kick in the ass type of punishment, or what they'll try to call motivation. We're trying to motivate you. Well, not everybody responds to that. Some people don't respond to negativity or sarcasm, or just trying to force it down. Some people do better with a softer approach, or just mentoring, that kind of thing. So I love that you do that with your guys.
Yeah, thank you. And I think I said it last time that I just finished a book called Servant Leadership, The Roadmap to Servant Leadership. And obviously, us both being devout Christians, being a servant, it's kind of in our faith. And reading that book was huge about learning the different styles, and it goes through different things that work in different industries. And it was really good. And what's good is, like, I love to read, but I'm not a huge reader, but I've been getting more just because I love to learn. And I highly suggest anybody, if you ever see yourself being a leader, leading a team, wanting to get into management, I highly suggest that book. It's an easy read. It's not a huge book, but it's the roadmap to servant leadership. And some of the stuff it talks about in there, that's when we talked about last time, when I talked about the difference between coaching and mentorship. Isn't that what we talked about? Or teaching and coaching. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Um,
we do.
yeah, and I learned a lot about that in that book. I was like,
Really
man,
like to- I really like to read that. It sounds really interesting, and something that I would like. Because I think that people like me, and I told you before, my position for the company I work for, I don't own the company. I don't have any stake in this company, right? The position I hold is arguably one of the lowest positions in the whole company, but I would argue that I'm one of the biggest leaders in the company also. So it doesn't matter title or position. You could be the new apprentice and still hold yourself in a leadership role by trying to just motivate the people around you, motivate, just show people to just always keep striving to become better, and not that you're better than anyone, but just always trying to better yourself, because nobody ever knows everything in this industry. There's always something to learn. Things are always changing, and there's always something that you've never seen before.
yeah, no, amen. I agree with that. And another thing I want to make clear is, when you had said that you're a helper right now in the install department, but that's also by your choice, correct? Like, if you wanted to be running an install team or a lead right now, you've had that opportunity.
Oh yeah, it's been presented to me multiple times. This is just what works best for my family. But also, I will do it every once in a while. If someone calls out sick and they need somebody, I'll step in and fill that role. So I do run leads sometimes on occasion when it's needed. But full time, it's not what I want for my family right now. I'm more concerned with being a mom, and being a wife, and being a friend, and with my church and different things. And so if I devote myself to another role or more responsibility, I think some of those other things will fall off, and I don't want that. I'm happy with my life balance the way it is now.
That's awesome. And uh, Mr. Craig Migliaccio, when he was on a few weeks ago, said, I think Rookie or Scott, one of them asked him about him inventing things, and he said it perfect. And he said, I have invented things, and I would. He's like, but that would take time away from something else. He's like, I'm already invested in making these videos and doing these books and building this course and my family and my church. So for me to do that, it's got to take away from this. And it highlights, and I think a lot of us do it, especially when we're younger, is we overextend ourselves thinking that we can do everything, and you can't. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's okay to be doing exactly what it is that you're doing and not adding anything else. Especially if you're
Right.
happy. There's not a lot of people out there that can say that they're truly happy. I mean, let's just be honest. People, and I'm not talking about Facebook happy, where people act like they're living this facade. Trust me, I've been there. You know what I mean? And I am just now, even going through the struggles that I'm going through in life, is finally finding like true peace and like vision of where I want to be and where I want to go. And sometimes that's when it comes. But it's people got to be happy and don't overextend yourself because it
Yeah.
always ends in something bad.
Absolutely. We're living in a culture where people are just chasing things so much that they end up, overstressing themselves about things that don't really matter and losing the things that really do matter. And so, yeah, I've always been big on contentment. Igor and I bought a new house a little over a year ago, a big house, a nicer house, a more expensive house. But truthfully, if our marriage started to fray because we're trying to keep up with this big house, I would sell it in an instant. Like, I do not care about this house the way I care about my relationships, my marriage, my children, all those things. And I think that's important to stay grounded in what's really important, and not put too much on what you obtain in life.
Yeah, and amen to that. And I'll say this, and you guys know that I get real and raw. And obviously I'm going through a divorce. That's a whole nother story. But we bought this house. This is $1 million+ house that I get. This house is 7,000 square feet. Um, this was a dream. This was supposed to be buying my dream home for my family. And I thought that's what we were supposed to have, that I had earned it and I'd worked so hard and I deserved this. And this house has been nothing but a fucking burden. I'm just going to be completely honest. It's been nothing but a burden. I don't need this house. Um, I'm going to be so happy when this house is gone, to be quite frank with you. Um, and I think that goes back to my time in addiction, that I just always had this low self-worth and I always felt like I needed to do things to prove myself. And even though that I've come so far, it was hard to realize this. Like, I didn't need this. You know what I mean? Moving an hour away from where I'm familiar, and you live and you learn. It sucks. I'm going to lose a shit ton of money on this house, but I don't care. I really don't care when it is gone and I can be somewhere else and do this new chapter. I can't wait to keep going. So I just, please take that, everybody, that money and material things will never make you happy. Never. It will fill a void for a brief time, but the void will always be there. That's just the truth. You can't fill it. And I will never preach to you guys. My void was filled through my faith in Christianity and Jesus. Um, I won't preach my faith at you, but that has worked wonders for me. It has made me a better man, a better father, a better person, a better leader. Everything about it has made me better and just kind of made me whole. So that's one thing that me and Rachel share. And I love the fact that she's open with her Christianity, because nowadays it's kind of a no to talk about. But I'm not gonna do that. And I'll wait till we get towards the end before I get my sermon like I did the last time that nobody heard. But I'm open and honest about it. And if that offends people, then so be it. Like I said, I won't preach to anybody, but I won't be quiet about my faith. I'm just not.
No, we shouldn't be quiet either, though, because you don't know who needs to hear it, someone who may come to Jesus through you, just knowing who you are and how genuine you are as a person. Because, like I say, people don't find Jesus when everything is rainbows and happiness. When they're on cloud nine doing the best in their life, that's not when they find Jesus. It's when they're in the pits of hell and they have nothing else left. They want to quit. They want to leave this world. Nothing's worth it. That's when people find Jesus. So
Yeah.
the fact that we share it publicly is important because, some people, they don't know that it's for them until they can see someone like them who is walking that life.
Yeah, no, amen. And I've said this before, and so people know, like, especially a little bit ago, guys, I was in a bad place. I was in a dark place when my divorce first hit. A lot of my friends who were with me in Florida even said, like, hey man, you just seem different. And I felt bad because I wanted to be there with them and enjoy them, but I did feel that way. Thank God I finally feel myself. But there's been times in my life, more than one occasion, and this is hard to talk about, but I do want to be real. If this helps one person, it's worth it. Where suicide has been on my mind, and as hard as you try to push it out, it doesn't go away. Granted, this is a long years ago that I tried to commit. I was in my parents' house. I'll even lay the scene for you. My parents had a deck that went out the back of the house and then went out this way around, or this way and around the pool. There was a big tree. I had tied a rope around that tree and I was going to hang myself. And by my calculations, I'm mechanically inclined. My feet should have never touched the ground. Okay. Should have never touched the ground. I put that rope around my neck. I jumped off my parents' deck and my feet hit the ground. I fell to my knees, and that is when I prayed to Jesus. And it still took me a long path to get back to it, but that is God's honest truth. That is I can be about as honest as I can about that story. And it's just don't ever let yourself get to that position, man. Like, please talk to somebody. That's why I am always so real and honest about what happens, because the emails that I get from people saying, Gil, this helped me. Like, I beat drug addiction. I don't drink anymore. I don't do this, means the world to me. So that's why I'm willing to be vulnerable and share my stories with you, no matter how much they hurt or how hard it is to say, because I know that it helps other people.
Yep.
You know, it's
For that.
yeah. And sometimes those things happen, and I would think something's wrong with me, and it's not. It's the devil at work, and don't let it keep working. So and if God forbid anybody ever has that kind of stuff, you know how to get in touch with me, please do. I'm willing to talk to anyone and everyone. So
Yeah. Same here.
yeah, but I guess we'll talk about this, before we I guess we don't have to talk about the sales thing. I know we talked about that the first time. I know you're an open book. If you want to, we can. If not, we can get on something else.
It's whatever you want to talk about. I'm an open book.
No,
it's important to talk about it.
No, it's just that I think that you would be really good at that position. So I guess I'll let you tell the story, but I think that you have a lot of untapped potential, especially with your personality, and I think that you'll be amazing in sales.
Yeah. Well, when I saw you at the Veto booth at AHR, was talking with you and Jake Krause for a little bit. We were talking about, at that point, I was kind of in a toss-up. What am I going to do for the future? I like install. I like the work. I like the hands-on. I like the content that I can make doing it. I feel satisfied with my work-life balance. I'm content. I'm happy. I'm good with it right now. But when I think about, what's my plan for the future? Where am I going to be in 5 years or 10 years? Am I going to still be installing at 45? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think my body can handle it. So we've just, Igor and I have been talking for a while about what would the next thing for me be. And I think logically it would be in sales. So I can still be in the industry that I love, but I can be, less physical, I take care of my body a little bit better and have more longevity in the trade, just because I could handle it physically longer. And I talked about it with our sales manager at the company I work for, and he at first it was interested, and I think maybe kind of still is. But when it came time, where in the fall when Igor broke his wrist, I brought it up. I said, well, maybe now is a good time. Igor's out. I could literally shadow some of the sales guys. I can get some training in, and then hit the ground running at the start of the year. And I was kind of like we'll see. I can't promise anything right now, kind of kicking the can down the road response. And like I was telling you, I was like, I want to work for somebody who's excited to have me. I want you to see my potential the way I see my potential. And I want you to be just as pumped about me being in that position as I am to be in the position. So I'm feeling right now that maybe it's not the best fit because I know who I am. I know that every job I've ever had, from working at the movie theater to working in a nursing home to now doing HVAC, every job I've ever had, I give 100%. So why would it be any different with sales? I know that if I start even, with no experience doing that, I know that I'm going to devote myself to it, and I'm going to get good or fast, or I'm going to quit, because I like to be good at what I do. It's just who I am. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's the right time or the right fit, because I'm not getting the feeling that I'm wanted there. And that's important to me.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. And hopefully somebody has the moment that they realize and at least give you the opportunity. And if you do something with it, great. If you don't, hey, you don't know till you try, and I can't imagine that you wouldn't. And if you ever do get that opportunity, um, I would be willing to help you in any way when it comes to sales. Like I said, that's where I made my bread in this industry. I mean, hell, you got Everett in there. That's where Everett made his.
Yeah.
He was a
Hey.
sales manager. Yeah. So, people would definitely help you if you ever needed guidance, because I do think that you could do it. And it's a good point that you brought up. Um, your body, like this trade takes a toll on your body, man. It does. And like I said before, it's how I ended up getting into management. It was by accident. I was good at what I did. I always wanted to be the best at what I did. And management sucked at first, but then it was like, oh, okay, well, I in the beginning I kept trying to get back to the field and do what I knew. I wanted to do that, but now I thank God, because my body. I mean, I got back to working out and stuff like that here recently, which is amazing. But it was years ago. I threw my back out lifting up a really big carrier infinity, a 5-ton carrier infinity unit. And the person I was with, my buddy Mo, who was finally going to come on the show for that matter, he was my protege. Guy's a fucking killer now. Does millions of dollars a year, and he's an amazing technician. But he'll come on and share his story. But he's built like an ox. We lifted the unit up and was fine going up, but turned. And when I turned, my back was done. So now sometimes, when I move or do something crazy, my back will get thrown out. Like, this is tough on your body. So I always say you have to have an, escape plan, because you can't be that installer forever. I don't care how good you are. You can't be a service person forever, crawling through attics and doing this, because this shit takes a toll on your body. And I hate it when I see those 50, 60 plus year old people. I mean, hell, Zeke in here has a guy that works for him that's almost 70 years old, Mr. Tom, who he fucking rocks and rolls, man. You know what I mean? And it's his choice that he does.
Guys that are up there, and I'm like, I love you guys, but I don't want to be you. I don't want to still be your age. Yeah.
It hurts my heart to see him doing that. And especially some of them, it's not by choice. It's because they have to, they need that money to live. And I don't want to be that way, and I don't want to see people to have to be that way. So if we can help as a community to advise them and other options, please.
Yeah. I was talking with Mike Mayberry about it at AHR too. And I was telling him, I think that part of it is that Igor and I are so valuable as installers. I think that companies sometimes get afraid to promote their people because they need them where they are, and that's not a dig at the company I work for. I mean, I appreciate them a lot. I love them for a lot of different reasons. And, they're the reason I support my family. So it's not a dig at them, but it does make you wonder, are you being punished for being good?
Yeah. So we got a message to you, Miss Megan, I guess that's McIntosh. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. There are so many opportunities for sales roles in HVAC. I would suggest going to a TSM or a distribution parts house where you can help hundreds of contractors instead. So something to think about.
Yeah.
Somebody throwing something out to you. What's up, Mr. Hughes, man?
Yeah, that's Megan. She was one of the nominees for Lady of the Trade.
Oh, awesome.
It was myself, her, and Rachel, Miss Mini Split.
Oh, sweet. I'm sorry that I did not recognize you. And congratulations on getting nominated. Like I told her, all of you that were up there could have won that award. So it's I think that the tactical committee did amazing this year as far as every single award you could have, drew straws and see who won. So that's amazing. Congratulations to you, Megan. But shit, I forgot where I was going. Oh, East Coast said, I'm happy Jesus works for you, but the Reaper works for me. Whatever works for you, my man. Hey, to each his own. But shit, there's something else that I wanted to get into that I forgot. Oh, talking about the social media side. And I know we talked about how hard it is to stay consistent, especially when you get a little bit more fame and you get sponsors and, now you get paid and you're responsible for things, about just going through that journey.
Yeah, I didn't start the journey with the intent on having any sponsored paid partnerships or anything like that. That kind of just like happened as the years went on and my content, some of it started to stick. And then so people started reaching out to me. I started the whole thing just because I wanted to inspire other people. And I think there's an assumption because I'm a woman that my intent was to inspire women, which it is, but it was really to inspire people because this trade needs people, and that's men and women both. I don't think that women will ever be the majority in the industry just because. But I love to see women in the industry. I want to see more women in the industry, but I want to inspire just young people in general to seek out trade schools and to just, join trades, the unions, however they get into it. I want to inspire them to do that. So part of it too was that I was having some regrets because I grew up in a household where my dad ran an HVAC company out of our house. And even still, I never considered that it was an option for me to join the family business. He never told me I couldn't. He never discouraged it, but I never thought it was possible because I never saw that. I just assumed, oh yeah, that's, dad's company and all his guys. And I never saw or thought that women do it. So I went to college and went that route because that's all I've ever known. And so to share it out publicly and just be out there for people to see, I mean, I think it would make a difference because then at least they know it's an option, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, and I love that, and I say that mindset has to change, and I think we still are with, trying to get the vocational schools and stuff like that back, so that young kids understand that this is an option. And I talked about that with Dennis the Apprentice, and what he's doing with apprenticeships in the plumbing industry is humongous. To be honest, it's a void that we need in the HVAC industry. But I mean, for a guy who sold his company, not even in the industry anymore, and now just does that is pretty compelling. Um, but yeah, that's why I love, and I guess I'll get you to share your story. I know I said at the beginning, to make sure that people understand. And I said, and I told you this, and I love your story. I think it's compelling because how you changed trades and got into it, and the fact that you shared it. And I do think that it is inspiring to people, women and men. But so that I'm not speaking for you, what were you doing and how old were you and what made you get into HVAC again before we start, winding down?
Right. So I was a social worker and I was a social worker for about 10 years. I worked in healthcare, and when COVID hit, like when it first hit and when everyone was saying 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and like, I was like, yeah, healthcare heroes, we're going to save the day and we'll get through it. And then it just dragged on and regulations just kept getting more and more strict and impossible. And I'm seeing patients dying without being able to see their families, and just like all these little traumas that I went through working in healthcare, and just seeing all these different injustices and literally having no capability to do anything about it. And then even on top of that, it was like you kind of had to keep your opinions hush hush, otherwise you were the enemy and you wanted everyone's little old grandma to die just because you thought it was wrong that they couldn't have visitors. I was traumatized with the whole thing. And I was like, you know what, this isn't it. And I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for this. And, like HVAC in healthcare, they're always hiring, right? So I'm like, there's no risk. I could go try HVAC, which was by the encouragement of my husband. He's like, just come work with me. I think you'll be good at it. And I pushed it off for a little bit. I'm like, oh, no. But then finally I just got so fed up. I'm like, there's no risk. I can try it and like it and stay with it, or I can try it, hate it, and come right back here tomorrow. So it just got to that point. And so I started and I was like, dang, I should have been doing this all along. I feel like it's so calling. Like, I love this.
That's awesome. And like I said, you had went to college, you were doing this, and you were like what, in your 30s or almost in your 30s when you decided to change?
Yeah, I was 31.
Yeah, and that's hard. You have children, I mean, a lot of people listening to this or watching this. Imagine switching careers at what you're doing. It's hard. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that. That's why I think that Rachel's story is so compelling. The fact that she did that, and then vulnerable in a trade that's predominantly dominated by men. which is, thank God, is slowly, starting to evolve, not as quick as it should, just throwing that out there. But, and then to put it on social media and to share it with everybody. That takes fucking balls, girl, and I give it to you. I give you your flowers for that, and I love the fact that you did that. I think it's amazing, and the fact that you got rewarded for it, I think is just even so much better with that award. And I hope that the other two women get to do the same thing for what they're doing, because it's powerful, and I hope people understand how powerful that is.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the nomination, for taking home the award. I'm just so grateful for all that. But yeah, there's so many powerful women out there, and I won't say that this is for everyone. I won't say that every woman out there could, do this, because I don't think every man out there can do it either. I've seen it firsthand. It takes a special kind of person, but we have so many, in this country and, other countries, there's so many women who are doing things that take grit and strength. I mean, think about the military, how many women there are in the military who are literally soldiers. If you can be a soldier, you can be an HVAC installer or service technician, like hands down. Like, it'll probably be a whole lot easier than what you guys are doing in training. And then, I do the whole CrossFit thing, and there's women in the gym that are stronger than I am, just like beast mode. Like, there's so many strong women out there who probably have just never seen a lady tradie. And so that's what I'm trying to be. I'm just trying to be there for someone to see and be like, oh, light bulb, I can do that too.
Yeah. And just provide, opportunities. I mean, at least now, hopefully you're in the camp that you can say what a woman is. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, but still, sorry, I'm gonna get kicked off the interweb, but
It's uncensored.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, no, I love that. And especially for, I want to say this for a few different things. So one, so that young women and young men know the opportunities and what they can do, that it's not, you have to go down a certain path. And the other thing is, it used to be that people are like, oh, if a woman's in the trade, oh, she must look like a man or be a lesbian or something like that. And it's just not fucking true. There are beautiful women in the trades that, when you see them in their street clothes, you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? I mean, like, you guys are beautiful women, and I want that to be broken, that's not the way it is. So I feel for you guys, because I know there's a lot of first and a lot of boundaries that have to be broken. And I'm just glad to see that some of those things are actually like, they're getting thrown away. Like, this isn't true. That's not true. This is bullshit, that kind of stuff.
Thank you for how articulate you were in calling me not manly. I love that.
Yeah, no. but that's how, that's not what I said. But no, you're a beautiful woman. And that's what I want people to see. And I remember when, a lot of this started years ago, when it first started happening, like, you would hear like groups of guys like, man, no girl's going to want to do this. The only girls that are going to do this, the ones that think they're men or they're butch or they're a lesbian and blah, blah, blah. And that's not true. Not saying some of those don't do this, and hey, more power to them, but that's not the case. I mean, and now when you're seeing on social media, there's a lot of these women that they're beautiful women, and regardless of anything that they do, and they're in HVAC, they're plumbers, they're electricians, and that right there should be like, fuck, you were wrong. You know what I mean? Just eat crow and get it over with.
Yeah, you can be both.
Yes, exactly. And and let's be honest, some of you guys out there, you're some ugly motherfuckers. You really shouldn't be talking about what somebody looks like. So I've worked with some of you guys.
Thanks for saying that. I agree with that. Some of the guys like critiquing different women, like beautiful women, even on social media, and then you go to their page, you're like, what? Who are you?
Yeah, they're blockhead. Look in the mirror, man. It's guy picks his nose like this. But yeah, it's just people being stupid and dumb things. But shit, we're already at 9 o'clock. This is what I was talking about when we get talking. But one of these times, tell your husband I would love to have both of you come on. I know he's not a big talker, but tell him we'll let you carry the load.
Just peeked around the corner, and I don't know if you saw me wave to him, but
oh yeah, I saw you wave. I didn't know if it was the kiddos this time, because I know they came in last time. I mean, I'm surprised, especially being a Friday night, that my girls are not down here. I can hear them bebopping upstairs doing God knows what. So Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on, girl. Thank you for coming back and doing it again. And we actually hit record this time, and the people can hear this. Um, I appreciate what you do, and I think that's extremely powerful. And like I said, I've been one of your biggest cheerleaders since I found out, since we met and found out what you were doing. You're always welcome here, and if I can ever help you in any way, you know that I'm down.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. And
Yeah.
I'm your biggest fan too. I can't. The first time you invited me on, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Gil invited me to be on HVAC Uncensored. I must have made it.
that's that's cool. And I tell people that, like, and I mean that's I'm flattered to hear that, but it's people thought for the longest time like, oh, you got to have like a certain following to go on and talk to Gil, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. I just like a good story, like, and hearing what somebody does. If we can have a good conversation, that's what I love. Um, you don't have to have a following. So I've said that several shows. Please, if you hear that, that is not true by any means. That I don't care who you are. As long as you come on and we can have a good conversation, I'm down. But I will say this: if you come on and it's not a good conversation, it'll never air. That's the only promise that I make people. If you come on and I can have a good time talking with you, but if it's not a good conversation, then I can't put it out audio because let's just be honest, the audio podcast around here pays the bills. Well, for now.
That's what I listen to. So every time, because I can't get on every Wednesday night, I listen to the audio. So I'm always like a couple weeks behind. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
enjoy. I like to put it on and work while I listen to podcasts, yours and some others.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate that. It's awesome now. There's so many good ones, and I've been one of the people that I love it when people start a podcast, which is why I've helped so many people and answer their questions and stuff like that because we're all trying to do the same thing, whether you're doing a podcast or you're doing videos or whatever it is. It's we're all trying to push our trade in another direction, and it just makes you better, man. Some are fun that you can learn something, and I think people learn stuff from my shows sometimes, but sometimes it's just having a good time and just talking with like-minded people that do what
Yeah,
you do.
I like yours because it's usually relatable to me. When your guests come on, like I know what they're talking about. It's not one of those ones where they're talking about something that has nothing to do with what I do. So I'm pretty loyal to your podcast because I feel like they're always relatable.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I've made some changes this year that I do want to get back to some of the technical stuff, but I also feel like when you go too hard in some of the technical shows, the audio side of it, it's fucking boring. Because I've listened to some of the stuff where I've listened to it and I'm like,
Well, not always relatable because people are in different areas of the field. So you kind of lose people without having that visual of like what you're talking about. Right. And
yeah,
so, yeah, it's more niche in that way. So I think your audience would enjoy more like talking about the things we all have in common, which is a lot of things.
yeah, yeah, and I love hearing people's story and their journey about how they got into the trade and what they do and where they do it at. Because we all do the same things, but like how you install package units, and I don't see them here. You know what I mean? And things like that. It's just cool hearing those kind of stories, and I love that because I stopped. You know, I would had a booking agency. When the podcast got bigger, there was a booking agency that would reach out and be like, "Hey, we'd love to have this person on the show." And I'm like, "Oh man, this is cool. Look at me. I got a booking agency. Blah blah blah." Half the shows sucked, so I stopped doing them. I'm like, "Hey man, I'll talk to some of these people, but no guarantee that I'm ever going to do a live show with them." And I was charging them money per show, but then it got to be, I'm like, these are miserable. I don't want to do this anymore. I'd rather sit on here and talk to my friends and
Yeah.
do stuff like that than have to do that because it just wasn't fun.
Yeah, I recently agreed to do a partnership with this like agency. It was like an agency thing, and it has not been fun. What I like is partnering with people where I actually use their product. It's not fake. I'm not pretending I use the product. It's stuff that I really do use in my everyday installations, and I just make it fun and quirky and in me. Right? That's my content. That's what I want to do. This one I took because I thought I could do that kind of, and I like the message behind it. I think, I stand by the message. I did it because I believe in what I'm doing with them, but the way they're doing it is just, it feels like work and it's kind of like torture. Like I've submitted all these drafts and there's all these deadlines, like we want this. And then it's just been, I'm not doing this again. This is a one and done. So
Yeah,
no
no.
more No more content agencies for me.
Yeah, I agree. I did them and stopped. That's why if you I know that's not something you're worried about, but I've helped a lot of people when it comes to sponsorship and structuring things because I want to make sure that you don't go through some of the headaches that I went in the beginning, getting ripped off, doing a bunch of work for nothing, and not overcommitting yourself. I have turned down more money than I've ever taken from this podcast, and this podcast has made a good chunk of change. Don't get me wrong, but I always went by the motto that if I wouldn't say something positive about you for free, I'm not going to do it paid.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah. So it's just the way it's been. And I do want people that are out there, if you're doing that work, to get paid with your worth, what you're worth, because these companies will pay. And I want you to think about this. 10 years ago, when a bunch of us first started, and I appreciate people, throwing me in as one of the OGs, because back then, if you got $500, you were like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. I'm rich.
Mhm.
These companies will pay. They used to spend $8,000 on a print ad in a magazine that somebody was either never going to read or they were going to read it once and throw it away. We are creating digital content, whether it's video or audio form, that's going to be there forever. They will pay. All right. So I just want to make sure that people out there that are doing similar things are getting paid what they're worth. Don't if you, like you said, if you have to take yourself from your family to do this, make sure it's worth your time. If it's not, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
then it's on your page, so you're tied to it.
yeah,
That's your image. You're buying my image in a way, right? So I want to be compensated for that.
yeah,
Whether it's still products that I use and like and enjoy, like, and I stand by them, but you're also taking up real estate on my page, so and it's going to be there.
yeah.
So
And sometimes they'll send us stuff for free, but the people that follow us or listen to us, they have to pay for it. So I don't want anybody to buy something and be like, this thing's a piece of shit, but I bought this because Gil said so. You know what I mean? Like, even
right,
I've been talking about Yellow Jack for 10 years, and I always say every time, I didn't today because I was paying homage to Mr. Tom, who passed away, but I say, hey, if you're, I'll never tell you what to buy, but if you're looking for a manifold, give my friends over at Yellow Jacket a try. Or if you're looking for this, that's what I say. I don't tell anybody to buy anything. So, and I do
yeah.
try to make videos of myself
Sorry to
using
hear
it.
about Tom from Yellow
Yeah,
Jacket. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Mr. Tom was a really, really cool guy. Very, very quiet. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to know Mr. Tom for 10 plus years. Very, very cool guy. And one thing I love is that company stayed out of all their products. There's only two of them that weren't made in the United States.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah, and that says a lot. And he mandated before he passed away for everything to be made in the United States. So um, that just says a lot. You know what I mean? When people are worried about cheapening things and making the price down and sending it overseas and shit like that, which thank God the tariffs are, helping that. But yeah, I just thought that was awesome. He was a very, very, very quiet man, but very, very good guy.
Yeah, but and it's always like when somebody passes on, you hear about, the things that they did in their life. And I feel like that's why it's important, no matter what your position is within a company, whatever your job is. I feel like strive for excellence, because you always hear when people pass on, oh, she was a nurse for 50 years and she was kind and compassionate. Like, I don't want to go out and be like, yeah, she installed HVAC, but she's kind of a hack. Like, I want a legacy, man. Like, Tom had a legacy, and he was known for, caring and doing good and standing by something and standing for something. I
Yeah.
want that for me too, no matter what my role is. And I think everybody should want that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Amen. And that's what I love. And I say, and I know we're getting over it's, you know, I could have went with some of these other big players when it comes to like those kind of tool brands. And there's a lot of good ones. I'm not saying anything bad about them by any means. But Yellow Jacket always reminded me of my dad. When I first got into this trade, you walked to a supply house, that's all you saw. They owned the market. Um, and that was the first set of gauges I ever got. And I feel like back then they owned their market share and they lost their way over the years. And I tell them that. I can be honest with them. And I want to see them get their portion of the pie back. And I think that they're on the right track. They've made some changes. And I have a very good relationship with their new um, director of, I forget his position, of engineering kind of thing. Eric, younger guy. I think they're moving in the right direction. And I do tell anybody this. I don't. I do have one over here. I can't get it down though. Shit. Their new Titan Max manifold. That thing is a fucking beast. Like, I'm being straight up honest. The thing does everything you could imagine, and you can beat the shit out of this thing. So I highly suggest it.
I'm in the market for some gauges because we do Goodman a lot, but we also do Lennox. Goodman uses the R32, and now Lennox uses 454B.
Yeah.
And our current gauges don't do 454B, so we've been having to like borrow other people's gauges and whatever. So I'm in the market. Just putting that out there.
Oh, hey, I got you. I got to get some stuff. Don't let them tell you I'm a horrible shipper. So I'm great at giveaways.
There was like what 8 or 10 episodes where you just kept promising somebody's getting their package. It seemed like it went on.
I let them kick me in the nuts, man. I tell them there's 2 guys on here that I owe stuff to that I tell them when they get it, I promise it will make worthwhile. I will have extra stuff. I'm not a crackhead. I didn't pawn it. It's still sitting up in the garage. Life just happened, so bear with me, but they will get it. I promise.
They still haven't got it.
No, they haven't. It's still upstairs. Yeah. And I said that's why when they bust my balls in the chat, I do not say a word, and they go in hard, and I take it because I can't say anything. Thus the reason I haven't done any giveaways, and I have a bunch of stuff to give away. But finally getting back on my feet, we'll slowly start getting it taken care of. So fucking relax, people. All right, I got you. But anyway, go be with your family. Go be with your hubby, girl. Thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, I love what you do. I appreciate you, and keep kicking ass. And I hope that many of doors opens for you.
No, thanks, Gil, and good luck with your new job.
Thank you so much. So you can hang tight while I close this out. If you got to go, you know the deal.
All right, bye, y'all.
Well, guys, thank you guys for hanging out. I know it was a normal, not a normal night. I appreciate you guys being here Friday. I am so sorry about Wednesday. I cannot believe I've done that. I cannot believe that I did that. But you know, shit happens. We had a great time talking. But what are you gonna do? It was supposed to come back here tonight and do it again. But real fast, I didn't do it in the beginning. I want to thank the people for coming in here. So, Mr. East Coast, the first one in here tonight. Thank you for being here, my man. Just work HVAC. What is up, my brother? Thank you for being here. Mechanical Environments. Thank you, Mr. Everett. So I was in this house podcast. Make sure you check out my boy Everett. Has an amazing podcast where he talks about different things and stories. Please check him out. Mr. KC, good to see you, my man. Mr. Zeke Warner, what is up, my brother? Mr. Nasty, what is up? What is up? I know I saw, make sure I don't miss anyone. I know I saw, oh, yes, Miss Megan McIntosh. I think I say that right. McIntosh. Thank you for being here. And once again, congratulations on the nomination. Mr. Adrian. Yo, Adrian. Mr. Reliable HVACR. Absolutely check out his podcast. Obviously, you know, Adrian's Reliable HVACR podcast or Trades podcast now. I'm sorry. And obviously, he's also with the Knights. Check out both of those. Support what they do. Let's see. I think that is everyone. Mr. Hughes, man, he was in here. What is up, my man? Mr. Sammy Andrew, what is up, brother? And I think that is everybody. So, guys, thank you, man. It was a great show. Thank you for coming back. Rachel is awesome. If you do not follow her on social media, please go do that. On Instagram, she is HVAC install her. So it's HVAC _install _her. If you don't follow her, go check her out. She puts out amazing content. She really, really does. And she busts her ass with what you do. So go give her a follow. With that being said, man, I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Make sure to follow the podcast on all the social media sites to stay up to date on what I have going on. And with that being said, keep your head on a swivel, man. Stay safe out there. I want each and every one of you to make it home the same way that you left. I don't care if it's driving, putting your ladder up, making sure the breaker's turned off. Being careful around metal, whatever it is, just be careful. All right. I don't want any of you out there hurting yourself. It's pretty dangerous what we do sometimes. So just please be safe. All right. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Be the best version of yourself. All right. Whether that's listening to a podcast, reading a book, watching a YouTube video, whatever it is, just keep bettering yourself. There's no such thing as staying the same. You're either moving forward or going backwards, point blank. All right. That's the truth. I know it hurts, but it is the truth. There's no such thing as staying the same. And then give back to other people, man. Just give a shit. Care about the people you work with. If you notice something different, say something to them. Hey, man, I noticed that you're always on time, man, and you've been late these last couple of days. You okay? That could be life changing for that person. All right. Give a shit about other people. Spread positivity and you get positivity back. Sounds cliche, but it's pretty much that simple. All right. With that being said, man, I love you, mofos, and I'll talk with y'all next week. All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.